I was thinking about the Liz Cheney thing that you mentioned earlier, where Donald Trump argued for assassination quite clearly. Who would have thought, Glenn, by the way, that the source of all violent rhetoric was the person shot on stage? It's odd. Really Shyamalan-esque with that twist.
That's the only reason why they're making a big deal out of this. Is because
but like, how can you make like,
that end they want to say he is a fascist that's going to shoot everybody who's disagrees with him.
Right. It just seems like a strange approach to say, well, you know what our closing argument is? He's going to shoot Liz Cheney. He's the guy. He's almost been shot multiple times in front of our eyes. It doesn't seem like the right approach.
And he wasn't given a gun, by the way.
Right. It wasn't.
He's recommending. He was talking about war. Give her a gun and have nine rifles. Targeting her. Let's see how she feels then. He's talking about war.
Right.
He's not talking
clearly. It's a very standard, honestly liberal talking point about war. I mean, and Trump has been this way consistently for a very long time. But he probably made that same point about Bush and Cheney in 2004, right? But I was thinking about this as everyone was doing the Liz Cheney thing, and she's on stage campaigning with Kamala Harris everywhere. Can you imagine? Just we'd all have a use for a time machine. Okay, sure, going back and killing baby Hitler is one of those things you might do with it. You might go back and watch some event from your life. But one thing I'd have to put in the rotation at some point if I had the time machine is to go back to 2004, 2005, and just tell Dick Cheney what's going to happen in 2024. That he and his daughter are going to be the heroes of the left. What a freaking bizarre thing.
He was Darth Vader.
He was the most hated person in the world.
Darth Vader to them.
Well, now that he's endorsed Kamala Harris, I don't think that he is.
They're not going to invite. You think he's going over to dinners at people's houses? You think they've fully embraced him? No way.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. I kind of feel like,
Of course, then again, they're for big business now. They are everything they ever said they were against.
And I feel like, Dick Cheney's comments have been, he did endorse Harris, which is incredible. But his comments haven't been as egregious as Liz Cheney's, who's like, again, we should remind everybody. It's not like a never Trumper. It's not like a person who's like, I don't know about this. Liz Cheney voted for Donald Trump in 2020. This is a person who wanted Donald Trump to be president right now. That was her vote. And here she is as the most, she's gone completely off the reservation. And I was thinking, how many stories could we tell like this? Roseanne Barr would be one of them. Roseanne Barr couldn't stand you at one point. She wrote.
I don't think we need to.
She's not on the phone yet. I can talk about this. She's probably asleep. No, but she on what is it? Is it Arguing with Idiots?
Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Glenn Beck. He's a vampire and a death lover. That's what Roseanne Barr said about me.
Right. It was used as we always put quotes on the back of these books.
Yeah.
Keith Olbermann. Many of these people still hate you. Whoopi Goldberg.
I'm proud.
Which, by the way, called you a lying sack of dog mess.
Yeah, she's a piece of.
Keith Olbermann, only in his wildest dreams could an actual suicide bomber hope to do as much damage to this country. There's all sorts of great stuff like this.
Yeah.
And we did this for several books in a row.
Yeah.
Roseanne was one of them. I want to say RFK Jr. was another one.
Oh, yeah. No.
On one of the back of the books.
Yeah, I think he called for my execution.
Well, he did want you dead at one point. Yes. I don't think he does anymore, though.
No, he doesn't.
And
I kind of like him.
Yeah. It's just... It's weird how this stuff happens.
It is.
It really is.
That's what we were texting back and forth yesterday, Roseanne and I. And I'm like, weren't you a communist at some point? Weren't you like, hey, go Marx? And she's like, no, I went to the Occupy Wall Street thing.
Yeah.
She said, to see what they were doing. And she said, and everybody roped me in to that movement. She said, I saw them as rich kids protesting daddy who worked on Wall Street.
Yeah.
She said, I hate the corruption in the big businesses. She's like, no commies, man. I want a return, right?
I don't think that's right.
I know. No, I think that's revisionist.
We'll have to maybe ask her about this. But like,
Yeah.
she ran, if my remembrance is correct here, she ran for the Green Party nomination and did not win it. And then actually did wind up being the nominee of the Peace and Freedom Party, which is legitimately to the left of the Green Party. It is an outward socialist party.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, sometimes you take a nomination because it's convenient. They've got a ballot in line somewhere. I mean, that stuff does happen. So it could be something like that. I don't know. But that's what I remember from the situation. But who knows? But
now
I mean,
she's
so
the queen.
many.
Now she's the queen of the garbage people.
That's crazy.
I know. Crazy.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard was running Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2016 in Hawaii.
By the way, I will take one Tulsi for the entire Cheney family.
Okay.
That's a good trade.
I like that. Some of these figures that we've embraced, I'm not as big a fan of as some other people. Tulsi, I like though. I mean, she's just really she's smart. I like how she's calm and balanced she is.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think I agree with her on a lot of things, and I will say concerned if Trump does win that some of these people will have roles that are a little bit too large.
Well, you know what he said about RFK?
Yes.
Yeah, his people came out and said he's not talking about a cabinet position, and he said RFK doesn't want one. He's going to put him in charge of studies and coming back, show us what the problem is.
But what I liked about Trump's comments on this was, I don't want him anywhere near the environment.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
Okay. As long as,
and he's openly saying it. He's not trying to convince anybody.
Totally.
Which I absolutely love. At least, let me ask you, who is the brain trust around Kamala Harris? Right?
I mean,
you don't even know. You have no idea.
Because all the people in the Biden administration hate her. Now, some of them, I'm sure, are trying to latch on to her now, but they've been leaking bad things about her for years.
Right.
She's had a couple of people around her. Her sister is a big one.
Right.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Tim Walz, a guy he was a football coach once, sort of.
You have Tulsi. You have RFK. You have Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another one. Like Elon Musk is a guy who has the biggest electric car company in the world. Why? Because he wants to stop global warming so much.
Right.
He's building spaceships so we can go to Mars one day to avoid the potential output of global warming. And that's probably the one I'm most excited about.
I know.
I can't stand the global warming stuff, but him with the idea of just taking a butcher's knife to the size of the government and just going after waste and all that is, I think, legitimately really exciting. I mean, we could see a major change.
Oh, I think especially if you get the Congress, if they have the Senate and the Congress, massive change is coming. Massive change. And change that, honestly, the left used to say they wanted. Let's end the wars. Let's audit the Pentagon. Let's make sure that big corporations aren't in bed with the government. I mean, this is all stuff. Let's restore the Bill of Rights.
That would be nice.
I mean, that's all the stuff that Democrats used to be for. I think most Democrats in the country are still for that. They were talking about this suppressed voter that, did you see the story? Where is this? AOC. AOC is encouraging female voters who are decidedly siding with Harris, while more men are voting for Trump than in previous she said you should leave Post-it notes in bathrooms for these fearful women in red states. This is real. Your vote is anonymous and confidential. Who you vote for is your secret. No one knows unless you tell them. Really? You really think that women... This pisses me off.
It would piss you off more if you're a woman.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, they don't think I have enough pride in myself to tell people who I vote for, honestly?
Honestly, you think... What they're trying to say is, we know your husband is oppressive.
Yep. Men are bad. What a surprising message from the left.
He will beat you if you vote for Kamala Harris. That's what she's saying.
It's pathetic.
I mean,
it's the same. It's the same type of message of we will make sure black people don't need IDs to vote.
Correct.
Right? Like it's the same nonsense. It's just demeaning and disgusting. You know what? They're always like, "Oh, where are the strong women on the right?" What women are you talking to? What women are you talking to that are terrified to tell their husband who to vote? What person is this? I don't know anybody like that. I don't know anyone like that.
I know a woman. I know a woman who is afraid to.
Oh, there's more to the story. Okay.
Who is afraid to express who they're voting for. Broadway actress, and I think I'm getting this name right, Carrie Manalakos, avid supporter of RFK. She just posted on Instagram that she's voting for Trump. So all of her friends in show business, all of them saying, it's a no for me. I'm so deeply disappointed in you. What a loss. I met you performing at a fundraiser for Hillary. Was that just a show to further your career? Wow, this deeply satisfies me.
The career progress of being a Trump supporter on Broadway. Oh my gosh, the glory that comes in from that decision. What kind of idiot even writes that?
I'm not sure how you've reached this conclusion or what brought you to this place, but I'm sending you love and hope that you will think of the rights of me, my husband, our daughter, and reconsider your position. You sold out your friends for a gig. I'm complete shock in reading this. Thank you for showing us who you really are. What it is you value publicly. There's nothing worse than a wolf in sheep's clothing.
But none of these none of these people are married to this woman, though, right? Right. I don't think they're. Right. I'm not saying you don't get pushback by saying who you vote for. Of course you do. But if you're in a marriage where that's going on, probably not a good decision at the very least. I don't know what.
If you're in a marriage where you don't feel comfortable in saying who you're voting for,
you're probably in an abusive marriage or something close to it.
Close to it, if not an abusive marriage, and you're in a marriage that won't work. If you're afraid to tell your spouse anything, you're in a marriage that's not going to last.
I don't tell her about my heroin habit. Does that mean we're in a bad marriage?
No, heroin is completely different.
Okay, good.
Completely, because that does good in the long run.
Right.
No, but I mean, really, it's a
troubling sign. Let's put it that way. I shouldn't overstate it. It's a troubling sign, though.
Yeah.
By the way, I love this headline, Glenn, because you mentioned the Congress getting in control of Republicans. This shocked me. This is from the New York Times. They wrote a big. It's an 8-minute, 41-second read. If you wanted to go through it, so a couple thousand words, right? Not a short story.
Right.
Here's the headline: A unified Republican Congress would give Trump broad power for his agenda. Now, that's just describing our system of government. That's all that is. That's all that headline says.
Right.
Now, I found it fascinating for that reason because it doesn't tell you anything. Right. Of course, if Donald Trump wins and Republicans win the Congress, he's going to have power to implement his agenda. That is literally how our system works.
Assuming the GOP is not the GOP of the past.
Right. But they should, in theory, like tax cuts.
Right.
That was part of his agenda.
Right.
They got control of Congress. What happened? They passed tax cuts.
Right.
Yes, that's how it works.
Right.
But you could write this article very easily the opposite way. A unified Democrat Congress would give Kamala Harris broad support for her agenda.
Correct.
But that's not scary to New York Times readers. Right? So they write it this way, even though it's obviously true both ways. It's scary to the New York Times readers, so they write it like this to terrify you for a victory for Trump.
When was the last time you picked up a New York Times?
Like a physical copy?
A physical copy.
I mean, it had to be at a hotel.
So, I was at a hotel.
Right.
I was at a hotel yesterday, and I picked up a physical copy. Oh, my gosh, it's worse. It's worse when you're actually reading, when it's sitting there. You pick it up and you read it, and the whole front page is like clown country. It is just crazy.